my family came over here on a boat. We were refugees from Vietnam, and my dad was a soldier in Vietnam and fought for the South. He knew it was time to go because the soldiers that fought for the South, because the South lost, were being sent to a re-education camp. And what that means is they were disappearing and not coming home. He had me at the time, and I think I was about 3-4 months. And so he had to, take up his family and leave. So they escaped. There were 3 boats that set sail that night, and we were the only ones that made it to the refugee camp. We stayed at the refugee camp for a year. I was about 1, a little over 1. And since my dad was a soldier, he was able to be on the top of the list to get sponsored over here by a church in Virginia. We lived in Virginia for about 4 or 5 years, and then my dad decided that, he heard that there was more jobs up here in Massachusetts, and so he just decided to move the family to Massachusetts. But it wasn't always easy, living in a home where refugees, not really wanted. They fought a lot. There was conflict, and my parents drank a lot. My dad especially. I remember him drunk quite a bit. And my mom drank mostly when she was stressed. Growing up, I quickly got into alcohol and drugs. Nothing that I'm proud of now. I had been through a lot of trauma when I was younger. Just abuse, but just trying to escape that pain. I felt like there was really no other way then but to numb it, and alcohol and drugs were the only way that I knew to do it. So I remember in high school working at Market Basket, and I met my friend Charlotte, and she was wicked nice, totally opposite of anything I ever was. The only thing was she was always busy on Sundays, which was weird to me. And she's like, oh yeah, I go to church. She invited me a couple of times, and immediately I was like, no. I just knew that, she was a good person, so she gets to go to church. I clearly am not, and so I don't go, and it was really intriguing in a way. So I gave in one day and decided to just check it out one time, and I did. And I'll never forget walking into church. People were so nice. It was definitely like walking into a different world. And then I wanted in, but I didn't know how, and I wasn't sure, but I wanted to be part of that world. I remember when she asked me about Jesus. I was going through something really bad in my life. She just asked me, hey, do you know who Jesus is? And I said, no. She's like, you've never heard of him ever? And I said, no. And I remember her crying, just tears coming down her face. And I didn't understand why. So I went to church for maybe about a year. And then I remember a guest speaker coming into church. I don't remember his name. But he kind of challenged the congregation, about how this man, Jesus, came and died for you. What have you got to lose to believe in him? And I remember sitting there thinking, what have I got to lose? Really nothing. I had to keep everything a secret, church and everything from my family. And I remember sitting in her car, and I said, hey, I think I want to get saved. And she was so excited. And she said to me, this is great. You want to do it right now? And I was like, no, not right now. I'll give you later. And she told her mom, and her mom was just driving, and she slammed on our brakes, and we went flying. It was pretty funny. So I got saved later that night. So anxiety for me before I met Jesus was pretty debilitating, I would say. I had PTSD, flashbacks. After really, drawing closer to God, I felt like I was able to grasp it better. Really clinging on to him is the best way. just truly not taking my eyes off of him and focusing on him. It just feels like a hurricane is what I remember, feeling like life. But when I'm praying with him, I feel like just taking refuge in the storm, and like in the eye of the storm, when it's just calm, peaceful, everything is still swirling around you, but he's there, and it's just this peace that can't be described.